pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have before us first the adoption of the agenda and approval of the minutes for the last board meeting, that was January the 8th. I have a motion that these two be approved.
So moved.
A motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? And of the minutes, any corrections or deletions need to be made? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by their hand. Thank you. All right, we'll go right into student and staff recognition.
Okay, we have the honor of recognizing some all-state choir participants from both the middle school and the high school. So we have, I'll let them come on in. And all right, so Ms. Walker, are you going to be introducing the high school students as well? Or
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Balcom is not with us today, but we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Hi. So these four students, well, we actually have a fifth one, but he, due to the long weekend, they had a trip planned. So we have three from the middle school that have made the all-state 2026 choirs. Noah and Henry Lowe are going to be participating in the middle school tenor bass choir, and Addie will be in the middle treble choir. And then Jacob and Sarah Brennan are going to be participating from high school, and they are going to be in the 9-10 mixed choir. So this was a really, it's a tough audition. It's a two-part audition. They have to go to two different auditions, one November 8th, where they had 6,000 students show up this year. There's 7 choirs total, 3 from the middle school, 4 from the high school, and approximately 1,500 across the state of those 6,000 made it. So, and we actually had several that were really, really close. I had 4 at the middle school who auditioned, and our fourth one was just, she was really, really close. And then we had several at the high school that were really, really close as well. So it's a very competitive audition, but they are a part of the choir, and they're going to get to sing with the top audition voices in the state next weekend at the Classic Center. So,
Great.
Good chance. It's a free concert. Check it out. It's amazing. Amazing.
Well, I was going to have a concert this afternoon.
I know. Well, we did get a little sample this morning with the middle school. We went and sang a little "Can't Help Falling in Love" in the lobby this morning. So, but I'm proud of all these kids and the work. It is hard work, and it's a rigorous audition, and so it's really an amazing experience. I'm glad to be able to give them the opportunity.
We're proud of you too.
Yeah.
Yes. Wish you all the best when you come. What is it, next week?
It's next weekend. It's the 19th. So they will attend clinics on half the day on the 19th, full day on the 20th, and then morning on the 21st with well-renowned clinicians, and then they perform concerts in the Classic Center. Like they're throughout the day on Saturday. So yes.
Awesome.
That's great.
Well, thank y'all for being here, and congratulations on your being selected.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, then next we have the financial report. Ms. Nevis.
Okay. So if you could go to the general fund report, we'll start there. This represents revenues and expenses received and incurred through January 31st. So we're 58% of the year completed. You can see, obviously, our tax revenues are up substantially, so we've collected a fair amount of that. We have a balance, like I said, of $3 million that's still to go. And it's my understanding that some of the tax bills were revised and the due dates on those tax bills were later in January. So I'm sure when we get to the final processing, we'll see a larger influx come in probably later this month in February to help us close the gap. So we'll have a better feel of where we're going to land once we receive those invoices in. And if you scroll down below, you'll see our expenditures. We're running according to trends, according to our budget plan, so nothing to really report that's outstanding. We had a fund balance as of January of $13,522,407. So we're at the peak, and now we'll start to decrease, but when we get that last balance of that tax revenue, that'll help us make sure that we're gonna meet our objectives. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain
Do we have any
those.
questions about any of that as presented?
Okay, and we'll look at the special revenue report next. This report reflects the federal grants, the pre-K, and the school nutrition program. And like I said, on federal grants, we're always going to run, a month behind as far as revenues go. Pre-K is actually, it's a little ahead because pre-K money is given to us over 10 months versus 12 months. So pre-K has like a set allotment amount that they give us based on the number of classes and the teachers in those classes. So it's a fixed amount spread over 10 months, so it's a little different. And then school nutrition obviously is based off of our staff, and, and food consumables, as well as obviously the revenue that we get from staff payments as well as federal reimbursements. So those accounts are all trending according to their budget plan. So no anomalies in those areas, unless you guys have any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions about the special revenue report? Thank you.
Okay, then we'll go on to the SPLOSH detail report. This reflects the past 3 months of expenditures paid out of the SPLOSH account. You can see in the month of January, we received our largest deposit for SPLOSH revenue, which represents December sales. It was $657,406. That's the highest we've had since the 2022 SPLOSH referendum, which is 10% higher than January of last year. So it's nice to see a number that high come to us. You can see the interest on that particular account, $41,000, and then the city reimbursed us for the baseball, softball net that we paid for. So because we paid that out of the SPLOSH account, so we just redeposited it back in there. Obviously, our largest line item for the month of January is the debt payment for the 2018 bond payment. So that was the largest expenditure that we had. So we ended actually the month at $13,663,877. Like I said, we're reserving that $8.2 million for future projects, and SPLOSH itself has $5.4 million in it. And like I said, we'll determine what of that 5.4 that we'll reserve for either future debt or future projects as we're moving forward. So we'll discuss some of those when we get into our retreats and our planning, okay? You have any questions?
Do you have any questions about the SPLOSH account detail? Then we'll move along.
Okay. And then we'll look at the SPLOSH projection report. This report is updated this time annually, and we use the trends based off of the current revenues received to project out. Like I mentioned, the new referendum, the 2025 referendum that was approved a year ago, will more than likely go into effect around the June-July timeframe. So that's why you see on this projection, I've adjusted it from 540 down to somewhere around 510. Because like I said, we'll have a 10% loss in revenue once that new percentage kicks in. All right. And then, like I said, from here on out, we've kind of just rough projected things that we could pay for out of the SPLOSH account. We have some projects that they'll be talking about next week with y'all, and we'll fine-tune those figures as we move forward. To the right, you can see the bond payment. So I want you guys to see like what we're paying out of splost, what we'll actually pay out of the bond taxes, which is the taxes that we collect from the property tax bills. You see the federal, which is the QSCB bond, that's the 2011 B bond. That bond is due and payable in February of 2028. So we have to set those debt payments into what they call a sinking fund, and then we'll make that final debt payment to on that bond in February of 2028. That federal column represents the interest payment. When we took those out, they were originally supposed to be 100% interest free. Then it wasn't 100% interest free, but they are paying a fair amount of the interest payment. So like the interest payments, I think like $218,000, and they're paying give or take around $206,000. Now I will say we just had a payment that was due February 1st, and we have not received our $218,000 or $206,000 from the feds. So we have to have the ability to pay it up front and then wait for that reimbursement from the federal government. So we are waiting. We haven't received it yet. So we've received all of them to date, but like I said, this one's behind. So and then to the far right represents the PBA, the 2025 PBA bond. And so that's just to apprise you guys of the debt payments coming forward. The dark payments are ones we made, and the light color ones are ones that are coming up. And they're biannual, so it's February and August 1st.
This
light,
would also.
light color.
Yeah, the light or August, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bond payments, is that legislation? They have legislation to do away with property taxes, and I was gonna say this is something that we haven't presented, that would have to be paid some way.
Do you mean they're talking about doing away with on the bond as well as the M&O?
I think they're just saying all real estate taxes, so not the ones that's paid by SPLOST will not be involved, but
Right.
the ones that we pay out of
Right.
bond tax would be affected.
Or we shift it and you have to create a higher millage rate on those that's left under the,
There'll be no millage rate if they do away with property taxes.
well, not for commercial industrial though, right?
Yeah. That's, everybody in here is a residential.
Right. But I mean, for like a 50-50 tax digest,
50 and they eliminate home.
then
You got to
commercial
double your millage
industrial,
on commercial.
yeah,
Break even.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We'll have to shift the millage on those that are left behind, which is basically, which will be like, rent payments will go up because you'll be charging, because essentially, you've reduced, it could be a tax shift possibly. Or we have to issue, which you're probably we'll talk about it this week, is a FLOST. It's another local option sales tax to make up the difference. If you're not going to collect it from property, it's a revenue source you got to get somewhere. They're talking about grants possibly, and then
This is the last time you got a grant.
yeah, exactly. So more than likely it would turn in the form of what they call a FLOST, some other kind of local option sales tax, which you'll pay on everything you buy versus in the form of a property tax. So those who are currently exempt from paying taxes now will be paying a higher tax because they won't be exempt from the FLOST. Does that make sense?
That would have to pass.
Huh? That would have to be voter approved and passed. Right. Yes. There's a lot of things that play on that.
Yeah, exactly.
That move. And I don't know what feedback they've been given by GSSA and other entities on.
The last word I got, the representative said this was the speaker's bill,
Uh-huh.
and it's gonna pass without any amendments, because it's the speaker's bill. And so that's the way it goes. So I guess it's gonna happen. Unless we have a revolt out there or something.
Speaker of the House.
In the House. I don't know about the Senate, but anyway, that's,
Well, that's
people
what I'm
don't
saying, like,
understand.
it's a shift, I mean, it's not, you know, if the budgets are just and the revenue is needed, that's the validation it has to go through, and if that's true, then the revenue has to come from somewhere unless the state changes the QBE formula, which right now, you know, it's like a 60-40 split, you know, I'm using bigger numbers, but it's about a 60-40 split, you know, between local revenues to state revenues to fund our operations, our daily operations. And, you know, unless the state is looking at changing that and increasing it, you know, for us, I'm not sure. Because like I said, if you're not going to collect, and even, you know, of the 40%, like I mentioned, we're kind of like a 50, you know, about a 50-50 split on commercial, industrial, and residential, but not 100% of residential is all homestead, you know. So it's only the property that qualifies for homestead, which I'm assuming they did the analysis based on everybody that currently has applied for that exemption. You know, what is it, 2,000 that you can, you know, and then if you're in another category, then you can apply for, you know, some of the senior tax exemptions or military kind of exemptions that they have out there. But I would imagine they utilize that information to try to decide, you know, and they basically just threw it out there in that template saying, you know, well, if you increase, you know, you use your splost, or, you know, I mean, not splosh, but, you know, issue and have voter approved issue, you know, sales tax, you'll be able to kind of compensate and make up for the difference. And then there were some counties that wouldn't have enough revenue, period. Like they don't get enough splosh revenue to offset the loss of the property tax revenue. So they were showing kind of like also winners and losers basically spreadsheet. But like I said, at least in our case, from, you know, sales, there would be enough sales to be able to do it. But then again, like you said, so now our sales tax is what, 7%, right? And it's getting ready to go to 8%, right?
It did say a possibility of 2.
That's right. It could be.
9.
So that's what. Well, but I'm saying right now it's 7%, and then the T-Splosh is going to make it 8%. So we're all going to be paying 8% regardless right now. So now you're talking about another 1%. So you're going to 9, you know, possibly 10%, you know. And then the city and the county governments are in the same boat as us. So you could be looking at a 10% to possibly 12%, depending on where you live. So everything you buy, it'll look like living in Europe. If you've ever gone to Europe and bought, their taxes are high because they have health care. You know, like they have like 18% sales tax. What?
It's called an after value tax.
Yeah, they have a very high tax rate. I'm not sure their whole funding structure, but I do know their sales tax are a lot higher.
When do you think this is going to come to a vote?
Probably pretty soon. So if you know anybody out there you'd like to have a conversation with, tomorrow will be a good day. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, there's a lot of pieces and to this, because like you said, you can't assume that it will get voter approved. And what if it doesn't get voter approved? Then you really got to change. And they still won't let you go more than 20 meals. And I know for us that may not sound like a big deal, but there's some entities that are a lot closer to the 20 meal rates, and they won't be able to do it. Like they
would have to adjust that maximum millage rate if this passes. They would have to. Not necessarily for us, but for a lot of schools.
But it's written in there right now that it's not, right?
Right, that's what I understand.
That's the way it's written in there. It's saying 20 meal cap.
QB, maximum millage rate. They have to change a lot of things.
Now, another little tentacle, just not get too far in the weeds in it. If you guys remember, like, you know, our QBE funding, you get your funding, but then remember they pull back the 5 meals, okay? And when they pull back 5 meals, they pull it back on the total digest, not the net digest, with the exemptions out of it. That's in the law right now, so they would have to change that formula to not penalize schools because the state is enforcing exemptions upon us. So that would have to be a change, you know, and so I'm like, well, are they going to exempt all exemptions or are they just going to force us to keep the, you know what I mean? Like, we're still going to penalize on the current exemptions that we have, but I'm like, I guess in some respects, I don't know.
They can't have it both ways.
Yes, right.
You can't
Right.
penalize
So anyway, so that's
something
another
that you're
piece
not
that
getting anywhere.
impacts us. Yes. Right.
All right.
Yes, sir. But like I said, it's not only us, it's cities and counties as well. So it's not just the school obviously is the biggest line item on a tax bill, and, you know, so.
Well, the cities and counties don't get that much from the state like we do.
Right, right. Okay.
Multiple things adjusted.
Yes. And you also think too, well, you know, you got to remember sales tax, what is it, comes to you monthly. And you never know exactly what it's going to look like. You know, property tax is pretty consistent. It's a steady eddy revenue source. And not like I said, if it has to change, I understand. But you understand you're going to a more volatile environment by going to sales tax. And you're not going to get your revenue like we're used to getting it in a lump sum, even though we're midway through our fiscal year, which is hard. But you also, you know, you're not living with that monthly kind of randomness to it.
Especially in case of a recession.
Exactly.
Property taxes pretty much stay the same during a recession. Sales taxes.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So from a school system, which is typically a kind of a steady eddy, you know, I mean, it's a lot steady when it comes to, you know, other environments that are out there. It's a hard thing to kind of think about and project, and I don't know. I go back to Ronnie's comment initially when they're all about local control, but they want to control the locals, you know, like they're all about local control, but they've taken away almost all of our control. So.
Okay.
Local control, as long as they control it.
You got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you guys for letting me talk about that a little bit. Okay. If we can let's go to the middle school phase 2 report. This will give you the latest update of where the middle school falls on its project. You can see we have a remaining balance of $6.5 million to go on this particular project with Carol Daniel and $165,000 with the architect. So Tom will talk about where they are in the process of renovations and things that they'll be hopefully completing then this summer. So we're getting there. We're in the home stretch. So, and then if we can go to the PBA report next. This is the 2025 bond. And so this reflects the expenditures that were incurred in the month of January by the different categories. So obviously there's the middle school expense that we're paying out of it. The other big project that's underway is the high school covered facility. And like I said, you can see on there we spent 1.5, and then below there I'm showing kind of what I call it the encumbrance, what's left to go of the $4 million that we've committed. So we have about $2.5 million to go on that project. And then over to the very far right, you'll see that debt payment, that $2.5 million debt payment that we had to pay out of there. So we collected $259,332 in interest for the month, and we ended the balance on this particular account of $79,441,680. And like I said, I showed another line item just for y'all's information about what encumbrances are out there that is committed against that $79 million. So when you look over here, you'll see the balance for the middle school, the architect. Obviously, there will be some miscellaneous, you know, we have furniture that we're still purchasing for the remaining classrooms, as well as the cafeteria is probably the biggest line item. The cafeteria, new tables are in that projection. Obviously, the high school facility, covered facility, and then the remaining debt payments for the next, like, 2.5 years, because we've committed to use about $3 million, 3 years of debt payments out of this. So there's almost $20 million of the 79 that's committed, if you want to think of it like that. Okay. Okay.
I'm looking at these numbers. You've got the interest plugged back into the 79 million.
I do. Yes, sir. Yeah. And like I said, we will continue to still collect. There's, future interest and so forth will continue to come through on this account, because that all won't be distributed immediately. Okay. And then last but not least, I didn't present December's report for utilities. So if you want to just pull that up real quick, we'll just quickly look at this. This is December's report because it was so early, I didn't have all those figures to present them to you guys. So if you want to just take a look at this at your discretion, and then we'll look at the January report for utilities. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
You see any that jumped out at you?
The only one that really kind of jumped out, I know the middle school, of course, if you look at the electricity, obviously, the square footage was more, obviously everything being opened up. So I was a little surprised, with the increase of it, but, until we kind of experience a full year, well, then we'll get a better feel. But we really almost, like I said, in totality, we're almost doubling the square footage at the middle school from where we were previously. So it's, I would say it's, a little bit of surprise just trying to project and plan for it, but in reality, it's probably right on target. So, yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
In relation to square footage, it's probably less per square foot.
Yeah, it could be. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's on the RTP pricing as well. So. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you very much. And we'll move right into the transportation report.
No, Mr. Parker is going to share since Mr. Weaver is driving today.
Yes, ma'am. When I spoke with Mr. Weaver, he said nothing was out of the ordinary for this month. His costs were right in line with what they expected. As far as the fuel, you can see those right there on the first line item. The second one, he did mention a couple of these repairs that had to do. Nothing that they felt like that would just be out of the ordinary of things that had to be taken care of. So you can see it is up just because it was some large items that had to be purchased, but nothing out of line there. And you can see he had several people out today, so he was having to drive. And so that's where he's at today. He's not on vacation. He's working. And so we do appreciate him doing that because he's been doing it regular here lately. But our routes have not changed. And then just want to mention down there the field trips at 33 in January and then already 55 scheduled. So you can see that the spring activities are jumping out there already. And so they'll remain to be busy as we move forward. And then no updates or things on the horizon that he sees coming.
All right, while you're there, just go ahead with the instructional program. Or does anybody have any questions about the transportation? All right, instructional program.
All right. Dr.
Parker.
Yes,
Who's going to do that?
Dr. Hicks, yes.
Okay.
yes, I know you guys know this, but no one really likes to follow Ms. Beckwith because she's a hard act to follow. But following Kim, when she goes into taxes, I find myself in a really good spot. So, you can see the first thing on your agenda or the instructional report is that we do have our board retreat next week, which I know you guys know about. You got it on your calendar. We're starting on Thursday. It does start at 3 p.m. That's a change. Don't forget that. And we start with GSBA updates, and then that evening we will be we'll have our joint work session with the city council. And then on Friday we will, and I know we'll talk about this Thursday, but Friday we do start with a presentation at 7:30. We have breakfast before that, and the presentations start at 7:30. So we got lots of lots of good stuff planned for you guys for that day, those 2 days. And then you also already know about this, the Star Teacher of the Year Banquet is Monday the 23rd, and remember it's at the Jackson County Ag Center. Registration at JES has started, so pre-K had open house this past Saturday, and the registration process for pre-K is ongoing. Ms. Beckwith, do you want to say anything about that at this time, or do you want to wait? Is that everything? Okay. And then kindergarten registration for in-district students opens in April. Screenings will take place later in that month, but of course our in-district students who are in our pre-K program, they have sort of a different registration process, and they get information from their current pre-K teachers. Dragon Day happened today at both of our upper schools. The 5th graders got to visit Jefferson Middle School, and the 8th graders got to visit the high school. I know that those principals will tell you a little bit about that at the end, but they got to spend some time with the older students, visit some classrooms, and eat lunch. So I think that was I think they had a lot of fun today.
Dr. Hicks, we did have to make an adjustment because we were moving our 6th grade today, so we didn't have our 5th graders, but our 8th graders did.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No.
We had a little situation, but we got
very fluid.
We're gonna take care of it. It was planned for today.
It would have been great if they got to visit.
It will be great.
Yes.
Thank you for letting us know.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. We had a big visit to Second-Year High School last Thursday. They actually hosted not just us, it was, they hosted educators that day. We took a big team of teachers from all the buildings, administrators, we had board members that went, and we got to go into the classrooms to see the ways that they are using AI, and we got to talk with them afterwards, both a teacher panel and student panel. So it was a really informative day. I'm sure Lisa has some things to share with you guys also, but they are one of the that cluster itself is an amazing thing because it is an AI cluster. So they begin that process in middle school and let it feed into the high school, and then they are one of a very, very few, I think maybe they were the first in the state who offered an AI pathway. Just as a reminder, you guys know that in the CTAE world, a pathway means it's a collection of 3 courses at the high school level that end in a sort of concentration in a particular area. So that was a big day for us to try to learn about, just one more way that we're trying to learn about how we are going to be using AI.
Dr. Hicks, may I mention one comment about that visit? I think it is, the biggest takeaway for me is how important it is to be methodical, and it has to be ingrained in what we are doing. It's not just, a haphazard type. You could tell this was part of their culture.
All the decisions have to be made early and be very intentional.
That's right.
It's hard to make changes once we start down that
right.
road.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Needs to be very well thought out. We hosted leadership. Now, I know this happened at I was there. This is why we rolled in at 5 till 4 today. Also, we actually hosted Leadership Jackson. Today was their education day, and they come to Jefferson typically at the end of the day, so they got to go in and see our healthcare classes, which was really great because this is the first year for that to be at the middle school. We had high school students who went over to present as well with Ms. Laura Wilbur. Y'all saw her last month here. And the middle school teacher, of course, Ms. Kinsey
Weatherford.
Is not McDonald anymore, but she was, and she was a student here. So she got to talk about her experience as a student in the healthcare pathway, going away and working and then coming back. So it's a really nice way for Leadership Jackson to see our current and previous students. We have our third of 4 sessions for our teacher leader cohort coming up at the end of February. We will continue our discussions about curiosity. We sort of want to make some plans with them for the summer and for this upcoming, the next school year. We are in the middle of CTAE month. That's what February is for us. And JMS and JHS and CTAE programs have really done an excellent job of highlighting their program for the school. They've had lots of different fun activities for staff and students. We have a huge community service day scheduled for tomorrow that Miss,
Miss Park, she was Miss Park, Miss Newman.
Yeah, it's still another new name. Miss Newman is her new name, and she is taking a big group of students. They're going to host a craft day at the Highland Senior Living. They're going to do outdoor cleanup. They're setting up flower beds at the Boys and Girls Clubs. Just lots of different things that they're involved with tomorrow on their vacation day. So we're really excited about that. And then Mr. Parker has received his summary report from the monitoring and risk assessment. You've heard him talk about the MRA. And Mr. Parker, do you want to talk about the recommendations and commendations, maybe?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We had no findings. We had 8 commendations, and I think the 3 most important ones that stood out to me was our ability to enroll students in our CTA programs. We got a commendation for that. We have increased over the last 5 years every year. And, you know, with all the different things going on that students are able to do now, that was recognized by the state as an accomplishment. And I think that goes to the board supporting the growth of the program and adding the teachers, and eventually that we're going to be able to add even more labs at the high school, and we've already done so at the middle school. So we appreciate that support. And that was another commendation. They saw the amount of funds that were locally supported from the board, and they gave us a commendation for that. We go well beyond what is required, and so they gave us a commendation for that and our way of spending that and being very efficient for that, supporting those programs. And then the last thing that I was going to mention from those 8 commendations was our ability to provide 26 different pathways for our students to take. We have 10 different clusters that are represented now, and then 26 pathways that come out of that. And so I just thought those were some great commendations that not only recognize the work that Ms. Hardy and the CTA staff do here, but also y'all support as a board to have those staff in those rooms there. And then the recommendations were pretty, I guess, what I would consider to be consistent with things that are going on from the state. Our POW programs, our teachers that are on extended day, we're moving over to a new monitoring system. They want to make sure that we have everybody up to date on how it's done because they're moving from one program to another one. And then the other recommendation was on our CPI, and that's where Ms. Story and I work together just to make sure that we're job coded correctly. There's been some change with that, so they wanted to make sure that we had something in place to do that as well. So, and then the last one they gave us, they knew we changed teachers in our business, and so they said just make sure it comes back as strong with your FBLA that it has been in the past. And so I'll take that recommendation all day. That's what we want to do. So very good meeting. Miss Christy Drew that leads that department does a fantastic job of leading that department and truly being a leader, not just managing it. And so we're thankful for her, and obviously the state recognized that.
And then Ms. Story, yes. Try not to take Caroline's thunder, but we did have a successful reinstallation of equipment on the newest renovated hallway, as well as moved equipment from the 6th grade hall onto that hallway, so that renovations may start next week. And even Mrs. Julie Nolan who got in there and helped out as well. I'll let Caroline talk about that in a little bit. And then we also have the next phase of our middle school intercom installation in the next couple of weeks. And I'm also working on some E-rate funding requests for next year. We only pay 40% of it.
Okay.
And I would,
every little bit helps.
Yes.
I would like to thank Ms. Knight for hosting us, the Leadership Jackson group at the middle school, but also the ROTC group did a great job, the 8th graders, greeting the guests. So they did a nice job, so thank you.
That's good. Anybody got any questions about any of that? Thank you all. Now we'll go to facilities report.
All right. So a lot of this has been mentioned. If I can get it to come up here. Maybe it don't want to. I jammed it up right here.
Mine won't come up either.
Can't get mine to come up there.
Yeah. Well, I can tell y'all what's going on. So maybe it'll come up. Maybe we'll get a connection here in a second. So at the middle school,
Yeah, mine's up. Yeah, mine froze for a second.
yeah, may have lost it. There we go. It's coming up. We're good. All right. So just an update on the middle school. The existing gym, which would be what we're calling, that the area that we renovated over. The punch list is 99%, and so we will, Kaysen is kind of turning that over. We're actually going to use the restrooms today with some tennis, and so they'll be able to use that for the exterior side of that. So Mr. Navis and Ms. Knight were working on making sure that was ready. The sign, as you can see, was 100% up. Datatronics is up, and we're working now to get Dr. Wheeler and them trained on that. Then we'll get the middle school trained on that. So they're working with that. Saw some text messages going back and forth on that today. And as was mentioned, the 8th grade is 100% clean, 100% done. And the punch list is, they're still finalizing it. It's 100% done, but just a few little tweaks on it with some restroom items and things like that. But we did move the 6th grade in there today. Ms. Knight, you want to mention anything about that?
Yes, I'm so proud of our teachers, our students. It sort of goes along with what Miranda was saying about Julie Nolan. I was stressing a little bit about construction and moving to a new hallway and getting all that done. And spoke to Julie, and she came in and did an AI power hour with our kids and did some. She taught them about proper uses of AI, and then she did some games and had a great time with them, and then gave out some great prizes. That was a little bit motivational to them to do that. We had a great time doing that. So we were able to teach children 150 at a time while teachers had a couple of hours to move their classrooms and get some things done. So when we go back on Tuesday morning, we are ready to teach. And Miranda's group did a great job of getting TVs moved and hooked up. The internet's working and their TVs are ready to go. So nothing. We were able to do that very smoothly and make that happen. So it was really good to get that.
And we appreciate Carol Daniel and them helping with all that. They did a fantastic job of supporting that as well. So over the next 2 weeks, you can kind of see that they'll be finishing up any little details over there. The biggest thing at the existing gym is putting down the weight room floor. So that is from an outside vendor. They're actually coming on the pre-visit on Sunday. Coach Morgan will be meeting them, and then it'll take about 3 to 4 days to get that installed. So we're just giving them all next week, and then we'll be moving into that facility over the next couple of weeks after that. The 8th grade wing, like I said, it is turned over, and then the 6th grade wing will be 100% demoed in the next 2 weeks, and then they'll be roughing in and getting the new HVAC units up. And so, Kaysen and them will knock out a lot of that with Carol Daniel this weekend, so we don't have to worry about the trash bins and all those things being in the way. So they'll work tomorrow, Saturday, and Monday all day long to try to get that out of our way. So we appreciate them doing that and not making us have to change our traffic flow. So on the high school construction, phase 1 is the multi-purpose facility. If you've been by there, I'll show some pictures. If you haven't, the columns are up, the trusses are up, and the decking on the roof, and it's starting. It was delivered. Some of it was delivered today, so that'll start going up this weekend, and then they'll be halfway done with that over the next 2 weeks. And then at the phase 2, which will be starting on this campus of the high school project, we'll give you some updates on that next week at the board retreat on the timing of the site work and all that. But we do have a final meeting with Carol Daniel, and then on Monday to walk through just to make sure that we've covered everything we need to get ready for that part of the renovation and work over here. Just a couple projects that we're working on. Baseball and softball sign, we're finishing up over there. We've done a good job of staying under that budget. If you've been over there, I've got some pictures if you have not here in a second, but it's beautiful. Baseball took care of some landscaping. We've got some because we were running under on some things that we're going to kind of supplement that on the right-hand side. I'll kind of show you that in a minute, and that'll be done by next Wednesday, hopefully. And so that place just looks phenomenal. And I had somebody tell me yesterday that when Monday, when they had their first game over there, they kept just looking around and not watching the game because they were just in awe of how good it looked. And the baseball came over there and pressure washed several things and just cleaned up the visitor stands, and so it looks really good over there. As I mentioned, we'll be moving that weight equipment over. We're going to recover some of those seats and then add some supports into that. That'll happen over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then at the Dragon Nest, as y'all have seen, and you'll see some numbers next week at the board retreat, they have grown in the number of kids, and so the noise has increased over there. And so we're going to finish some of those walls that we kind of had left open up there above those rooms to kind of cut down on some of that. And they will actually get that done this weekend. And so they'll be completely done this weekend. And then we'll come back and paint it and, touch it all up. That way we won't have to disrupt them at all. And so that'll go from there. And then just a couple things, and I'll turn it over to Russell to give us some updates. But the ice snow removal, I just wanted to mention that, that was a lot of work, and I appreciate Russell and his team coming out. And we had blowtorches, and we had shovels, and we had all kinds of stuff out here. And Miss Hardy was with a backpack blower and all kinds of fun stuff. And, and the schools took care of cleaning up that. And, all the principals did a good job of getting their teams out there and helping getting those ready. And we appreciate Carol Daniel helping us locate some extra ice melt. And so that was really good, but it takes a team to make all that work. And then the last thing I'll mention before I turn it over is School Dog. Y'all have heard us talk about that, and we'll hear more about this program and how we're using it next week. But we have converted Russell's team over to School Dog, and we'll show you some data. And so I think they're liking it. They got Russell and his team got all kind of pictures on there, and it's a good two-way conversation now. When the principals or the assistant principals go in there and see it, it can say, part is ordered, looking for things. And so it just adds more communication to where people are not wondering where they're at. And so they did a great job. We got everybody trained on it this week, and then we'll be converting it over next week. Russell, you got anything you want to add on some things that y'all are working on?
Nothing, we're just trying to stay caught up. Yeah, one guy this week.
Yeah, Russell's had some sickness this week, and so they've been having to get after it this week. I'll show y'all a few pictures of some things that we got going on. So here you can kind of see 8th grade hallway. This was during the final clean. Just looks great right here and spacious with the lockers taken out of how they've done that over there, but looks very good. And like I said, there's kids in it here, standardizing that classroom with the boards and the TV locations, so all the rooms are similar, and making that consistent across that building. All right, and then you can see here with the new water fountains and getting that tiled in for the students there. Restroom renovations with the floor. It's a really nice floor that they've put in there and looks great. The new sinks. So all these will look the same across all the restrooms over at the middle school.
This was particularly in the 8th grade.
This is 8th grade hall, yes, sir. So this is all the renovation they just finished up and turned over to us.
Okay.
So this is the multi-purpose facility here. You can kind of see what it looks like from an aerial view. And then this is from the soccer press box area.
On the picture of the multi-purpose area from overhead from drone at the end wall there, Carol Daniel's getting us some renderings of what that end wall, both end walls are going to look like on those gable ends.
You can kind of see how it's coming down.
There's going to be a diamond J on each end. We're going to make sure it's in proportion that it's not too small, but it's also not too big.
That's right.
It'll be lighted on the stadium side, but not on the road side.
So, and you can kind of see how that's coming down when you go past it over there. I do have some pictures of the new baseball, softball facility.
Before we get off the
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I've been questioned several times if that's our new aquatic center. No, it's full of water.
Oh,
I don't know, not this time.
no.
Thank you.
You know, the dirt down there is wet right now because there was a leak on the city end. The city had a leak on water main there. So half of it's very wet.
It's pretty wet up there.
But with all the dirt down in there, I thought about the old UGA Coliseum. It was built in the 60s. And I did, for first 20 years of that, there were cow shows, animal shows.
Yeah.
That place stayed dusty.
Stalls
We don't
behind
put that turf down, we can just make it FFA.
I was gonna say, we'd have a nice arena over there, wouldn't we?
Have a great arena.
So, but it's coming along good, and the city did get that leak fixed, and so we're moving on with that project. Just want to kind of show you some updates of this. I just think it looks really nice over there, and we appreciate y'all supporting this. But this is the new sign as you're walking into the facility here, and so what we've got left is right here to the right. That's where we're going to kind of add a little bit of pine straw and some sod. So when you're walking up there, the whole corridor as you're coming up right there is going to be taken care of. So that'll be done next week.
Where that sign's going to be? Or where do we decide to put that sign?
It's to the right. I had a picture here, but I didn't get it in. But it is right there to the right of that entrance right there. And it is actually up. It got put up yesterday, and I didn't know it until this morning. And so I didn't get this picture in there. But yes, sir, it's up. And it looks good from where it's at. It doesn't take away from this entrance, which we didn't want to take away from it, but it's very prominent up there, and it's basically in the middle of where those pine trees were.
And when will the bronze plaques be put on the columns?
He thought that they would be delivered next week. I asked Coach Navis today, and he thought that they would be delivered next week. So if we get those, I'll add those to the pictures.
There'll be a bronze plaque on one side for the Horace Jackson baseball field, and then the Damaris Gurley softball. So there'll be bronze plates on those columns there as well.
Nice.
So hopefully they'll be done by the board retreat next week, and I can have pictures of those for y'all.
I think Willie will agree with me. One thing I like is the pine straw underneath the fences there, so that we avert having Roundup sprayed on red clay, right, Mr. Willie? We don't want that.
That's right. So, yeah, you can see here, this is coming through the entrance, looking back left towards the baseball field. That's all pine straw up under there. This is looking back from the concession stand, all new sod to your left right there in those areas. This is looking from the hill, from the concession back towards the parking lot, new sod right there around that. And then they were able to carry that sod all the way up in front of the field house for them. And hopefully they're on order. They're just not here yet, but I'll mention that around the seating for the home stands and the visitor stands will be new skirting that is branded for that, and so it has been ordered. It's just not here yet, and so that'll dress up around those areas as well.
I was trying to go back into my email to look and see when the foundation, when this was brought to us about the baseball softball complex needing some attention, and that's been a quick turnaround time. And if you can see the before and after pictures, I have the before pictures in my desk. If anybody wants to see them as remembering.
We'll try to show some of that next week.
It's come a long way in a short period of time. Yes.
And there was one item on there, I don't think I emphasized it, but you'll see it coming up on the action items, the roof at the board office. We got it finalized, and we showed that to the facilities committee a couple weeks ago, and so we do have that as an action item. And if y'all choose to approve that, they're going to try to do that over our spring break, where we have less traffic over there.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the goal of that company.
Baseball facility, how's the new steel building? Where are we
just
at?
waiting on it to get, it was about 45 days out on delivery. And so we're probably about halfway through that. But they've already poured everything, so as soon as it gets here, they'll be able to start on that. Very high quality of work so far with the concrete and the way they laid it. Those guys are doing a great job.
Most all of that was paid by the baseball fundraising.
Yes, sir, 100%. And even softball has added some picnic tables where we put the concrete seating down on the third base side. I saw that from Coach Bailey the other day, and so I'll get that added into our board retreat to kind of show that off. But it looks really good over there.
It looks great.
Very good. Anybody have any questions about the facilities report? All right, hearing none, thank you very much. We'll move right along. And we'll go into our action items. First off, with the roof that Mr. Parker mentioned is the first item up. So let's look at that.
All right, you have a quote from Dusty Greer Roofing in the amount of $30,300. And again, this is to address the issue with the roof at the central office. So I would like to make a recommendation you approve this request.
That amount, that's 27 plus 33. Did you add one of those things?
Add one, yes, sir.
Add
line item
one.
Add
yes,
number one?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the main page, that 30,300.
All right. Got it. All right, we've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Thank you very much. Move right along.
Okay, this next one, approved copier lease. You have a 60-month copier lease for central office with Athens Digital Systems. The amount is $2,864. I will let Kim explain more information, but after the way my morning started and wanting a clear copy of a document that I needed to send, I hope, please approve this request. So,
we currently have a lease of 10 copiers with Athens Digital, and we have 17 months to go of the 60-month lease right now. We have 24 copiers throughout all of our school campuses. And so as they accumulate more copy, we have several that are in the millions, or some are in the 2.5 million copies. So we need to recycle these ones out. So this is a good opportunity. Actually, this lease here is only $26 more per month than our current lease, which our current lease is 10 copiers that are black and white copiers that have scanning and fax and stapling capabilities. This one here, I asked for him to provide us 5 color that have the color option of printing color, as well as 5 black and white, because we do find ourselves at our schools as well as central office. We do print color, but we use the LaserJet or what's the other one it's called? I can't remember, but anyway, it's 2 different types of actually inkjets printers, and we probably spend over $1,300 per school annually. Some might be a little bit more depending on their usage of it. This will be a cheaper solution for our color printing options and just give a little bit more flexibility. It can be managed with codes, so that way somebody can't just come up and plug away and start printing color. They have to have a specific code, and it'll be monitored by each of the offices. So to be able to acquire 5 color copiers and only have a $26 monthly increase. And then what they allow us to do is to take those 10 and we'll redistribute them out, and then we'll exit out some of the really, really old or, high volume copiers. So it's a good way for us to replenish. We've done this historically, and like Dr. McMullen said, we have some that have a quicker move than others, but anyway, so with your approval, we would like to proceed. So.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, you've heard that. Let me ask you, that 2864, is that a month?
Yes. It is.
So it's the whole 60.
It is. It's per month.
All right. So, but it's for, did you say 20?
It's for 10. This is for 10 leased machines. And the good thing is, like I said, these ones that we're currently leasing, we're going to be able to keep them. So it's not like we got to give it back like a car. We get to keep the machines.
had some of those that in about a month or two, you call somebody and see if they can haul them off for you. They don't work out too much.
Yeah.
But they don't cost you anything. All right, you heard the recommendation of superintendent. We entered into this lease with Athens Digital Systems. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? Motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by that lifted hand. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, the item is public comment. If there's anybody here who would like to have any public comment, we'll be glad to receive it now.
Just say you all are doing such a wonderful job in Jefferson City Schools as part of leadership back to like a tour, as y'all had mentioned, and just kudos to you guys for everything that y'all do for the kids.
Thank you very much.
Very impressed.
That's nice to hear. Thank you. All right. Any other public comment? Hearing none. We're going to go into executive session, but before we go, as I always do, I'd like to hear from each of the principals. And Ms. Knight, we're going to start with you since you had to host everybody today in the middle of moving rooms and all the stuff you had to do.
Yes, sir. We had fun doing it, and I will say this. I'm just to piggyback on what you just said. Our kids are amazing. Over and over today, they said thank you for what we did for them. We did games and having fun and doing stuff. And, I don't know that you find that everywhere, where sixth graders are thankful for little things like that. So that was nice to hear and be a part of, and just fun. We have so many things going on. We've been celebrating our counselors this week, and we have two amazing counselors to celebrate, so that's been fun. And we've had the AI visit, and sort of what made me think about asking Julie to help do that the other day. So that was pretty cool. And we do have half-day planning days coming up for each of our departments, so we can sit down together and talk through some things. Sheridan has given us some opportunities to go for some ELPL for our new ELA curriculum that's come out. So our teachers are going to report back to other teachers and work through some of that. We have some more field trips. We're going to the wastewater plant here in Jefferson and seeing that. We did the rock quarry last month, so kids are getting to see some real live action and things that they're studying, and I love that. So lots and lots and lots of things going on. Our building is beautiful. It's coming together. I know you'll have a chance pretty soon to come by and visit and see. But, I can't wait to show it off.
I know. Thank you. All right. Let's see. In deference to everybody else, I'll hold Ms. Beckwith the last.
We all appreciate it.
All right, Ms. Jordan, tell us about elementary school.
It's been an interesting couple of months with not a lot of 5-day school weeks. So we've been pivoting a lot. But we did in January have Night at JDS, which is our book fair art show, and we had lots of families there. It was a great night. At the elementary school, we've also have just completed half-day plannings for teachers, and they are working on year 2 of their ELA curriculum implementation. So something that they've been working on for planning, but also they had data discussions where they were digging deeper into their middle of the year data and determining what specific students need. So that was wonderful, and they appreciated the half days. We have parent guest readers coming into the building. We've started. We can invite tons of parents in because we have limited time, but every classroom has a parent guest reader come in per grade level for a month on Fridays during a certain block of time. So we just started that, and the parents are loving it. Kindergarten registration, as Sherry said, is coming up soon, and so we're trying to get all of our information ready so we can get it out to the public. And we have just celebrated I Love to Read Week at JS. So kids brought one in their pocket one day. They brought their favorite book. I think they wore wearable words, stickers. yesterday, and, we're exchanging Valentine's. It's pink out today, so a lot of people, and a lot of noise and excitement.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Orr. Ms. Ferguson, tell us about the academy.
All right, so we started our month with some testing. We had 50 testing going on and also access testing that as of yesterday we are finished. Thank goodness, we were happy for that. But today we had our Share the Love of Reading event, which Ms. Booth in our media center organizes every month or every year. And she had a little over 1,200 books set out for our students to each pick a book to take home. The majority of those books were donated from students who bring them in, but the foundation did provide a donation, and we got around 140 books with what they donated, along with 4 adult books we raffled off for the teachers to use. We want the teachers to work with them. But we also, on Tuesday, our book fair starts up, so another opportunity for more books in hand and getting some parents in to come shop one night. We have next week, our 5th grade has a field trip to the Athens Rock Lobsters. They have an education day, and the foundation also helped with that and covered half the cost to make it really affordable for our kids. So we're super thankful for their partnership with that. We have a running club starting up this month. We've got 75 kids signed up run in our running club, so we're having to pivot with our plans with that as well. And then we are going to end the month with our 3rd grade 50s and 60s concert.
On the running club, did you say follow me and you take off?
Yeah.
Okay, we all want to come watch it. All right, Ms. Hardy,
Yes, sir.
tell us about the.
Just to piggyback on what Carolyn said, she needs to be proud of our 8th graders because they represented JMS very well today. We even had a kid who said, "Thank you so much for doing this. It was a fun day." So I actually got this boarded because I'm like, you need to make this boarded. I'm just here. So it was kudos to your 8th graders. Wonderful job and your teachers today too. So it was a fun day at JHS. We had a band and chorus, show choir, and drama this morning, and then they toured the school, and then they got to see all of our elective classes in the arena. So it was a fun day. And then they love our lunchroom. I don't really know what it is, but they love the lunchroom too. So that's always fun to watch. We have mock trial did a great job. First time in school history that they're getting to go to the district competitions. That's a really big deal. I was going to wait to recognize them until after that district competition. But you never know. We had several kids that got awards there too. Our seniors this week had the opportunity to hear a 1-hour financial talk with Dale Alexander, and I'm amazed at him, that the kids, how they respond to it, the questions they ask, and it's nice to know that they're getting some great advice and motivated by it too. So that's always fun. Families tomorrow morning for University of South Carolina Clinic, which is a really big deal. They're one of 2 bands in the Southeast ensembles to get this recognition. So great, job. Of course, Nickel was wonderful. And then basketball ends its regular season tonight and starts region tournament. Girls play on Monday, and then Wednesday and Friday will be the tournament. What's going on at JHS?
Sounds like.
And dance right now is the dance meetings at Athens doing the jazz. They did prom last night, and jazz is today.
Got 4 in prom. Wow. And then I think they did top 10 in jazz. Because they're going to be back.
Yes, we have 9 of 10 made it fun, but 1 got out today, and 1's in the battle back. So I think out of the 9, we got 7 definitely, and then 1 was in the battle back.
Tom, I didn't ask you before, but how's the radar course going for
because of the weather, we got delayed, and so now Jackson MC has set up for next Friday the 20th. And so we did get a few little things done. With Top Line came in and put up some of the brackets and bars and stuff like that, but the final thing is scheduled for the 20th right now.
Thank you.
I need to be corrected. It's called the Wrestle Back.
Yeah.
Incorrect about my wrestling back here, so sorry. But no, I'm sorry, Bob Hitter Texas said wrestleback, so I'm obviously.
I will say this, Bob has watched a lot of wrestling over the years in Jefferson, and he told me last week, he said he thinks this is the most talented team we've ever had.
Bitter said that?
That's what he said.
That's this year. He'll say it again next year.
Well, they battle and they wrestled and they did all this stuff.
Ms. Hardy, we understood what you meant.
Thank you.
All right.
They didn't have wrestling.
In school.
I'm not. I'm sort of scraping off my screen here, so. Ms. Beckwith, you want to tell us about the little ones?
Yes, lots of neat things happening this month in pre-K, kind of theme of partnership. We had Grandparents' Day, so our grandparents were able to come in and they really appreciated that. And then last Saturday, as Donna mentioned, or Sherry mentioned, we had our open house, so over 100 families, the whole family came, like older kids, younger kids. They came in and got to tour the rooms, meet the teachers. But what was really neat, we had Johnson houses and crafts and snacks. And so one lady, as she left, she came and found me and said, now I can trust my child. And that made the whole thing worth it. Because all you have to remember, a lot of these kids are free. And that is a big deal. So for them to entrust their child with us, it's an honor.
Sure.
So that went really well. Registration's going great. We're not quite at our cap yet, but historically that is very typical. Everybody waits so long. But we're at 160 now, so we just have a few more to take in the people. So that's going great. Our mini grant, we've got 9 area pre-Ks that have signed up to come into our building with the trained integrity and foundations and to receive all the materials. So we're excited about that. We'll be able to send our kids and children from the community to kindergarten with pre-K with integrity and foundations training, which aligns with the curriculum and just helps our students do more kindergarten. And just good stuff happening. We're excited.
Very good. Did you, Teresa?
Yes, the Star Teacher Banquet, Teresa is going to provide she's going to do registration, and then if you all will let me know if she wants to go. I mean, if you want to go and you're available for that. If she wants to go, she's going. And then the other, next week, she will actually, at the City Council retreat or work session, she will be providing just an overview of our website, some options with the new website design. So she's going to do that next Thursday. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Teresa, now if you want to say anything else, right? Miss Savannah, how about the cafeteria food service?
Food service is going very well. I'm very impressed with our JHS crew today because that's 728 students, which is no small feat. Usually, that's a really big school. We usually do a lot at JHS, but not big man. It's a big deal. We do not have a lot of turnaround time, and they work as always. And then I do want to shout out my general school computers. We the first health inspector visit of the spring semester. We get 2 of those every year at all of our schools, and they were seeking pay. So I'm very proud of them for their continued pursuit and commitment to making
Colin says I want $1 million.
Take
just cut it out because y'all
Take
want
it.
Publishers Clearinghouse.
Publishers Clearinghouse, that's what I'm thinking.
One still down. 3 more to go.
Okay, thank you. How about special ed?
Okay, so I thought September was going to be my largest month of growth this year. I don't know why. I thought I would do that early, but February has been too. I would think a whole lot of people in this room who have helped with a lot of situations this month for sure, but the hospital's going to top that award, or just supportive employment. Parent survey, I was going to you about that last month. That will go out either next week or the following week. I was trying to lay it off of the other surveys that we have had. Special Olympics bowling is coming in February, so middle school and high school will to talk about CTAE. So, a couple of things. Thank you for letting me participate in all the things that you do, because although I have been a part of the community meeting that we did at the end of last year, or sometime last year, I was able to answer some of her questions, and then I picked on Parker's brain and like, tell me some more. Give me the elevator pitch, because I need to have some more details for that. So that's been exciting. They're reaching out about accommodations. That wasn't really a complaint. CTAE. So excited about that.
Very good.
Miss Peplo is doing a fantastic job as our Director of Special Education.
It takes a whole group. So, thank you. Thank you for supporting.
Very good. Anything else?
Yeah.
Then if y'all don't have any other questions, I asked, I think 12 times, but if y'all have any other questions about anybody that spoke or anybody that didn't speak and you want to talk to them again, you want to say something about them, that's all right. But if hearing nothing, we'll go ahead and have a motion to go into executive session. Motion, something happened to Ms. Smith down there.
Oh, well, he beat me to it.
He beat you to it, yeah. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by blue hand. Thank you very much, and we'll go into executive session. Thank all of y'all for being here.